morning, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the previous keynotes. We started really great with people-centric HR today, and therefore we got an interesting topic to tackle in the next couple of minutes. It is about communities that HRs can use as tools. Is there a guideline for companies on how to build their own talent pool, and why are the communities so important for HR? There are many questions, of course, but luckily we've got a guest today to provide us with all the answers throughout this case study. I'd like to welcome Pedro Gajic. Pedro has led businesses and people operations all over the globe, with stints in Serbia, Portugal, Russia, and Uganda. And today he is using his skills to manage talent operations at Kazana Technologies as a vice president. Welcome to the session, Pedro. Let's hear more about why are the communities so important for HR, what is the power that they hold, and of course, good luck with your session.
Okay, first of all, good morning. I don't see how many people we have this session, but let me start with my brief presentation.
Okay, good luck.
Okay.
Everything set up for today?
Yep.
Okay.
So how do I share my screen?
At the bottom of the screen, you have an option share. You should have the button.
Okay, so let's start. So today's topic is community as HR tool. Can you all see my screen?
Fine.
Is it visible to all?
If some of the audience don't visit the screen, they'll type us in the chat, but so far it's okay.
So first of all, I'm Pedro. I will start my presentation how you can use community as an HR tool. So first of all, I'm not an HR expert. So I've been working as a people growth expert, but most of people see me as an HR expert. My focus is not HR. It's mostly strategic growth and talent attraction. So that's something that I've been doing. So who am I? I'm Pedro. I like to say I'm either Swiss Army knife or the hammer. So it means that different situations require different actions. But who am I really and what I do for a living? I'm vice president of people operations at Kazana. So Kazana is providing fully vetted freelance engineers and connecting them with the fast growing startups in Germany and the US. Not exclusively, but mostly. So why am I here? So I'll be presenting something that is, let's say, a case study that I learned. And I would say I've been successful in one very, very well-known hyper growth projects with the people operations. It's called TopTile. And I survived a hyper growth startup. So I believe that when you are going through a hyper growth startup and when you survive all those stages, you can be successful at any level in organization. So how did we do it? So, it was 100% remote. So yes, even now I'm working remotely, mostly from the beach. This is like a most recent picture, and I'm sure that when you see someone like this on the beach near you, you wouldn't say that person is a vice president of some organization. But yeah, that's reality. Remote work is the future of work. My positions for the last 7 years, I've been working as a business developer, community manager, sourcing specialist, head of growth, and of course today I'm vice president. So I would say that the community manager was like a most important touch point in my career. And when I was a community manager, my colleagues, friends, they used to ask me, what are you doing for a living? You get paid to spend time on Instagram or Facebook. But in reality, of course, it's completely different. So let me tell you something about the community. So the question is, where is your focus? Are you focusing on internal or external community? So internal community, uh, if you as organization are focusing on internal community, in that case, your focus is to reduce, or let's say to have less people leaving the company. So you're focusing on retention rate. But how you can use external communities, and what is the benefit from the community in general? So the question is, how are you attracting the people? What is the key for success in this case? So my focus is always on the right people. So if you're focusing on the people, and if you're hiring people through different communities, then definitely you will be successful. So you have to focus on the right people. So people with some kind of visibility, people that can bring you more talents. Ah, Regarding to that, I created something that I called a recruitment funnel. So in this case, uh, I've been focusing on these four steps as the most important parts in the recruitment funnel, and how do you attract people, and how do you taking them to onboard to your organization. So the first one is attraction. So attraction of talents is really important, and this is something where you have to interact more with the communities. I started interaction with the meetup groups, but in reality, most of organizations are just posting a job post on LinkedIn, and that's it. They're expecting they do have some kind of visibility. But believe me, senior people, they don't care about job posts. So you have to source for senior people. So regarding to sourcing, the question is, how are you sourcing your people? So in reality, the most, I would say, like 80% of organizations, they have a LinkedIn account, the premium LinkedIn account. From God know what is the reason, but there is always a female sourcer who is sending a bunch of emails on a daily basis and spamming people. And the response rate is usually between, let's say, 10 to 15%. So I created very unique sourcing approach, and I will tell you a little bit later how do I source for people. Of course, there is a proper vetting. So the question is, how are you vetting your people? So how do you confirm their skills? So it's supposed to be very effective, super fast, and you have to be sure that you are getting skills that you really need. The last one is the placement. Again, the question is how fast you can place and onboard your people to the project. Not only to the project, it's also how fast you can onboard them to your organization. So, my approach in this case is first of all to interact with the communities, to have a really strong relations with the meetup groups, tech conferences, uh, any other group where you can boost your visibility, where you can find people with the specific skills. Because on one place you have very specific people with very specific interest. So it doesn't matter if it's IT or marketing, you just have to get out and you have to find your people. In terms of sourcing, I always suggest to avoid a LinkedIn messaging because senior people will not even respond to those messages. So I always prefer custom made email, personalized email to the people from the community, because in that case, your response rate will be much, much bigger. Uh, and with that, they always respond, "Hey, I remember you from the event," or "I remember you supporting the conference," or whatever. Vetting. Uh, if you're not Google, Facebook, or Amazon, you cannot afford a long vetting process. Sometimes candidate may be lost in your process. It takes too long, and they don't have enough time to spend like 6 months in the process. Placement. Uh, I usually have very fast onboarding process by introducing the key stakeholders, and the project that is ongoing. Talent attraction. So, regarding the talent attraction, it's a long shot, but definitely worth to do it or worth to try. So, I realized that when I have a situation that I have to attract more people, I definitely need to work something with the communities. So, and regarding to that, I realized that my response rate to the candidates is growing according to my community activities. So, uh, even with some very basic activities or basic interaction, when I just go to a specific meetup group, I present what we do or to present some kind of project that I have in the pipeline, people are responding to my messages. The question is how deep you can go into this interaction and what kind of, let's say, the benefits you want to get from the communities. So, again, I always prefer to go to the communities to make a very deep cooperation with them, and that means that more you focus on community, more talent you attract. More talent you attract, more talent you source. So these two things are very closely related. So activities in a community for every organization are super important because with these interactions, you're not only supporting or sourcing people, you're building your own talent pool. So, as I mentioned before, it's a long shot. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but sometimes, there is not enough people on the market, and the companies, they have to focus more on this kind of interaction with the people. So, I always say try to recruit major players in the industry. So focus on the people with the visibility instead of people who match your company culture. Of course, they're not rock stars, but try to make them rock stars. Uh, that's like, very good way to start investing into your people, because if you make them famous, uh, you will be famous. So I believe that in every organization, you have people with some kind of visibility. So again, it doesn't matter if they're in marketing business or if they're in IT business, they do have some kind of visibility. So the question is, are you willing to invest into your people to make them famous? Uh, Not making them famous literally. So, for instance, some organizations have people who are meetup organizers and they don't even know that. So, if you start investigating how many people with the visibility you have in your organization, then you can start investing into your people. Uh, why is this important? So, there is a war for talents. So, Uh, I believe that uh, every organization is having like a bunch of open positions, and they're all sourcing and looking for senior people. In this case, I would say that most of you are sourcing for the same people. So if you're just sending them a LinkedIn messages, so it means that you're overlapping with messages with the same candidates. Just as an example, a senior software engineer will get 3 to 5 job offers per day. Vice president of people will get 5 to 6 job offers per week. So, do I respond to those messages? Of course not. Uh, are the senior engineers responding to those messages? No, probably not. So, you have to definitely go out of your comfort zone and to start sourcing people uh, outside the LinkedIn or outside the well-known networks. So you have to make a deeper interaction with the communities, and that's how you're gonna find the proper talents. How you can use the community as a proper sourcing tool. And that's all on my side. So you can find me on LinkedIn. And thank you for listening. I hope you all enjoyed.
Thank you, Pedro. It was an awesome session, and we are right back on time to answer a couple of questions that we have from the audience. I hope that you are ready. The questions are regarding the community, so let's start off with the first question. Is there any way to create a community out of candidates or passive talents?
Come again, please. I'm not sure that I understand.
Mhm. Mhm. Is there any way to create a community out of passive talents or passive candidates?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so let's say that you have an organization very strong in a specific area. Let's say that uh, you are highly specialized in growth marketing. So, what you can do, you don't have to go outside. You can create your own marketing community to attract more people. You create your own meetup group. You invite people to your company. You organize events at your place inside your organization, and you're making your own interaction with the candidates. So in this case, with direct interaction, you're building your own community, and that's how you can attract and build your own talent pool.
So there's more than just creating communities within companies. The communities exist out of companies, right? So the company should
Absolutely.
pay attention to. Okay, another question. Why would you hire someone that is not a culture fit? They will be unhappy and not engaged, thus bringing more harm than benefit.
Okay, good question. So, of course, you will not hire someone who would be unhappy. Even that person will not accept to work with you if they don't feel safe or if they don't feel comfortable working with you. But instead of focusing only on your company culture, if someone match your company culture, you should rather focus on their own visibility. Sometimes you have to balance between visibility and a company culture. Of course, that's the HR topic. So if they can manage those cases or not, but I would say yes, this is an HR topic, but the proper HR manager, they know how they can guide people like this through the organization.
Okay, another one regarding challenges. What is the most challenging when you're using community as an HR tools? Are there any risks?
Well, there is no like a pattern what is the challenge or not. So let me give you one sample how companies are interacting with the communities. So I remember, so like 3 or 4 years ago, I was living in Poland, in Warsaw, for 2 months, and they have a very strong mobile development community. And there is a one company exclusively supporting this mobile group, and they're not even recruiting people from this group. So they're just supporting them financially, giving them a space for events, giving them a food and snacks during the events. They're just sponsors and officially supporting this group. Only one organization. You know what is happening when someone from that meetup group is looking for a new job? They just go to this company and they get the job. So there is no challenging what is the challenge. The challenge is only how deep are you going to interact with the communities. So the question is, what is your goal? So if you just want to boost your visibility in a specific group, then you can just go around and spread your business card. But if you're gonna go like a little bit deeper into this cooperation, it's a long shot. So,
Yeah.
but you will start building your own pool. The challenge is, are they willing to interact with you? And the challenge is, how fast or how good will be that relation?
And how creative are you going to be in this process? As you said, not just by giving your cards to people, but thinking of new ideas of how can you engage people to be a part of your community in different ways, whether it's about their interests or similarities with other people. So one of the challenges might be in how creative are you going to be. Okay, we have
Yes.
time for one more question. Communities within companies are great, but it is hard to manage them when the employees are spread all across the world. Are there any tips on this?
Any tips? Yes, there are tips. If you're have like distributed people around the world, what you can do in this case are community gatherings. What I did in the past was organizing like small gatherings. Like for instance, you have like 10 people in one country in one city. You have another 10 in a different part of the world. But what you can do, you must have some kind of community leaders, someone who will gather those people together, who will invite them for a beer, for a dinner, or whatever. But again, what are you getting from this? So you will just gather small community of people and they will talk about the projects they're working on. But on top of that, just beside managing your internal community, you can always invite some external people and make them bring them all together so they will get more about your organization and you will attract more people which are not part of your organization but they might be potentially a part of your organization. So there are many ways how you can manage communities, even internal and external communities. But again, it is a long shot. Definitely, it's not something that will help you grow over the night. But definitely, it worth to try. It worth to invest the money and time into this kind of interaction with internally and externally with the communities.
Thank you, Pedro. This was an awesome session. I believe you inspired the audience to think deeper on the topic of communities. And thank you for putting a spotlight on how important this is for HR. Also, these were great examples, and I'm glad that we had these kind of questions because they went right through the center of the topic of today's case study. So I believe that you brought some new thoughts in this session. I congratulate you. Thank you once again, and wish you a nice day.
Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.